Yeah.
Shut up, I'm trying to watch.
Hi, my name is Allie George, and my topic is advertising responsible for childhood obesity? That's Violet from Willy Wonka. So, as I was researching this topic, is advertising responsible for childhood obesity basically turned into, do marketing employees have the power to change a child's physical appearance? One of the arguments for these could be children are easily influenced by the media. And a counter argument could be they're not usually in charge of their diets. Their parents usually pick out what they eat. So the question that was provoked from this was, at what age are children responsible for their diet? Basically, the point of this presentation is to read and analyze 6 articles. 3 of them will be pro and 3 of them will be con. And I planned to remove all of my bias that I previously had on this topic and basically make a decision from there. So the first article is a pro article, and it basically tackled the question of why are obesity rates growing? It was a very open-ended questionnaire given out in Central Europe, and the majority of people who answered, one of the results that they got from it was people felt as though advertising did have a big effect. They said a solution to the problem would be that restrictions may help. One of the more specific solutions given was no junk food during child programming. And one of the flaws of this article is that when people turned in the survey, many of the parents admitted to being responsible for their child being overweight and for their diets. And another flaw was that it was only given in Europe. And if we refer back to the textbook, it talks a lot about bias. So this was a very biased sampling, given that it was only in Europe. The next article is a pro article. It was children's understandings. Basically, in this, they conducted a study, and they had 2 groups of children. They had normal weight children and overweight children, and they showed them 6 pictures. Most of the kids in each group, it was equal. They knew about 5 out of the 6, they were advertisements. Kids knew 5 out of the 6. And it was interesting because the overweight kids identified health risks. And health risks mean that this food isn't safe for you, this food will make you sick. But the normal weighted kids identified safety issues such as this food will make you fat. Another thing, if you refer to the textbook, it talks about Piaget's theory of cognitive development, and all of these kids were 6 to 12 in the operational stage, so they couldn't really reason abstractly. That kind of contributed to the article. The third article is called Is Advertising Responsible? And there's a pro side to it. It was by the Kaiser Family Foundation. It basically claimed that children engulfed in the media are more likely to be overweight. They said that advertising usually promotes unhealthy choices, and a solution would be limit advertising. They didn't specifically say, they just said limit advertising overall, and that would be a solution to the problem. The flaw, however, is a reoccurring theme. Parents do decide what their children eat, usually. And so if we refer to the textbook, they actually did a few cross-sectional studies, which we talked about in class, where it's a specific point in time that they took these studies. So that's what these were based on, these results. There was a con side to the article too. It was by the United States government's Federal Trade Commission, and it said that most children's ads aren't even food products. They're video games or they're toys. They just aren't as much junk food. They said there was absolutely no correlation between an advertising increase and an obesity increase as well. They said that limiting food advertising is bad because it could lead to other poor ads being aired, such as violent video games. And if we refer to the textbook, it talks about illusory correlation, which is the false belief that two objects are in correlation with each other when they actually aren't. So their claim was that there is no correlation between advertising increase and obesity increase, which was the point of the article. So the next one is marketing cannot be blamed, and it's a Kahn article. It basically said, if there's a simple problem, then there's a simple solution, which basically means if it was just advertising that was the problem, then the solution would just be to limit advertising and obesity rates would go down. However, that's not the case. Advertising has no correlation to childhood obesity if it is the sole factor. More than 80% of the parents who responded to a survey that they were given said that they admitted to the responsibility of their children being obese. And this goes back to the concept of illusory correlation. The next Kahn article is when two sides go to war. They gave reasons for why it wasn't advertising, such as we have a lazier generation, and we also have time-stressed parents. Two people and two parents working two different jobs, as opposed to 30 years ago when there was only one income in the family, more time for the parents to hang out with their kids. And they said that we should focus more on promoting supportive environments for physical activities. One example is a campaign called Get Moving, and it basically encourages children to get up and do some physical activity. Another thing is we should focus more on healthy eating policies in daycares and in households too, not just going out for junk food, getting cheap food. And this goes back to the idea of bias. So the purpose of this presentation was to analyze pro and con arguments given within 6 articles. Some of the pro points were children who are engulfed in the media are more likely to be overweight. Ads do not center around healthy choices usually. And there are not enough ads for campaigns such as Get Moving. The con points are parents. They take responsibility for their children's diets. Another one would be one problem would equal one solution. So if advertising was the cause, if we got rid of it, obesity rates would just go down. And there's just an overall lack of activity with children these days. So basically I sided with the con side. I thought they had stronger arguments. Many of the pro studies were not conducted nationally, they were biased studies. And parents was a big one. When they said that 80% of parents on that one survey, only 80% of parents took responsibility for their children's diets, that was a big one. There's still more research to be done, obviously, and wider studies would definitely benefit, less biased studies. Here are my references. Any questions? Thank you.